Hello everyone and welcome to the video portion of section 89, which we call 20 Minutes of Truth. This is the lifestyle portion, the holistic portion of both the practice and the website. And as the name implies, it is the Alignment Center's code for healthy living and a healthy lifestyle. An organized, sequential, step-by-step approach to systematically lower stress and inflammation. For non-patients of the practice, welcome. For patients, things that you can do outside the office to improve the results that you get inside the office. Doc, is there anything I can do? Yes, because the part of the brain that manages stress is the same part of the brain that manages posture. The better you manage your lifestyle stresses of diet, nutrition, hormone balancing, sleep, exercise, inflammation, the better you will manage your alignment, your correction, your posture, and your overall health. This is information that many patients are looking for, but it is difficult to find. So listen, learn, apply, and don't forget to share. For all visitors, I invite you to take a look at the chiropractic portions of the website and then call to schedule to come in and get checked. We help people recover from injuries, improve their posture, get relief from chronic pain, and avoid unwanted or unnecessary surgeries every single day. Hopefully we can do the same for you. Congratulations on completing steps 1 and 2. This is step 3, hormone balancing. You've completed the cleanse, identified food sensitivities, healed up the gut, have taken or are taking the saliva hormone test, and quite possibly have lab work that reflect thyroid and blood sugar levels. If this is you, welcome! And if you're here just for educational purposes, we welcome you as well. Now, we literally have hundreds of hormones in our bodies, so where do we begin? You begin with a handful of the major hormones that have a cascading effect on many others. The bowling strategy. We're going after those kingpins, so when we take care of a few, we're going to take care of many. Cool, right? So if you're experiencing symptoms that relate to hormone imbalances, blood sugar, stress, metabolism, reproduction for both men and women, menopause, that's just for women, you're in the right place. Or if you're experiencing symptoms that you don't think, don't know, or may think that they have something to do with hormone imbalances, like fatigue, sleep, heart disease, and even depression, buckle up because you are definitely in the right place. Now, if you're just joining us, you don't know, or have forgotten why you did the cleanse and healing digestion first, let me tell you. Now, the cleanse is first because there's an entire classification of toxins known as hormone disruptors. Now, we didn't do a cleanse to eliminate all hormone disrupting chemical exposure, but we do the best we can. We cleanse so the body can better tolerate them, to supply the body with nutrients to metabolize, convert, and eliminate these toxins efficiently. The goal is not to live in a bubble, but to become as bulletproof as possible. We cleanse because of the dozens of direct and indirect effects that a toxic load has on our body. Hey, try to balance hormones, being unable to clear out these hormone-disrupting chemicals in the body, and see how far you get. The steps of a good cleanse are to go clean, lean, green, and mean. Now, if you don't know what that means, the cleanse video is awesome. Go check it out. Now, step 2 is digestion. And we talked about the many direct and indirect correlations that poor digestion has on our health. Now, if you don't think that hormone levels are affected by a constant stress response coming from the gut, think again. Here's a thought not realized, and it's true for most. The stress response from relationships, and deadlines, and finances is minor compared to the stress response that comes from poor digestion. No question. So as far as healing up the gut, it's the 4 R's. Remove, replace, re-inoculate, and repair. If you don't know what those words means, go to the digestion video and check it out. Now, on to hormones. Of the hundreds, there are 5 that we're going to bowl over. Insulin, cortisol, thyroid, estrogen, and testosterone. And the most important to get right is insulin. Insulin is the well-known hormone that responds to blood sugar. If you have a sweet tooth, you are well on your way to hormone imbalances. If you're not there already. Excess insulin is incredibly damaging to the body. But it's not just sugar that causes excess insulin. Now, it's other things as well. It's stimulants, lack of sleep, dehydration, medication, and a women's cycle. These will also cause insulin levels to rise, so it's more than just sugar. Now, insulin stimulates fatty acid synthesis in adipose tissue. Wait, what? Translation. Insulin is the gas that fuels your fat-making factory. Now, these fat cells pump out many hormones. Let's just talk about 2. Fat cells secrete, number 1, inflammation. The more fat, the more inflammation. Inflammation, what's the big deal about inflammation? Accelerated aging. It means you get older faster and you get chronic conditions younger. Inflammation turns bad genes on and turns good genes off. Wait, bad genes? What do you mean bad genes? All genes carry markers, and it's our lifestyle that determines if those markers are expressed or not. The genetic markers for cancer, Alzheimer's, heart disease, Parkinson's, dementia, stroke, the big nasties. It's been 30 or 40 and feeling like you're 60 or 70. Control inflammation by controlling fat levels, by controlling insulin. Fat cells pump out number 1, inflammation, and number 2, estrogen. Fat cells produce and release estrogen, creating a condition known as estrogen dominance. This leads to big nasties as well, like breast cancer. The first step in balancing hormones is to control the hormone insulin. Second, cortisol. Now, cortisol does the exact opposite as insulin in a couple of ways. First, as insulin brings down sugar levels, cortisol brings up sugar levels. And second, as insulin helps increase inflammation, cortisol helps decrease inflammation. Now, the problem is that cortisol tries to balance out the inflammation and blood sugar being created by insulin, but it's just an unfair fight. Cortisol was designed to control inflammation and blood sugar to a much less degree than the daily massive onslaught that we put it through. Cortisol tries to show up big, becomes unstable, and eventually just can't keep up. And you have health symptoms that are different with each one of those phases that cortisol goes through. First, cortisol tries to show up big to keep pace with insulin. Unfortunately, those high levels of cortisol put us at cardiovascular risk, along with depression and cancer. Now, when it starts to become unstable, we got sleep disturbances. That's both falling asleep and staying asleep. Here's a piece of advice. If you're trying to fix the problems that you have at night, start by fixing your day problems. In order to fix your night, you gotta fix your day. Then finally, when cortisol levels can't keep up and they start to drop, that leads to hypoglycemia, which injures the central nervous system. Mood changes, trembling, sweating, dizziness, blurred vision, headaches, extreme tiredness, and hunger. All hypoglycemia, all low blood sugar. So to get cortisol levels balanced, stop asking it to control inflammation and blood sugar all day, every day. Get your insulin under control. Now let's move on to thyroid. How important is thyroid hormone? So important that every cell has on its surface a thyroid hormone receptor. Now, FYI, common symptoms of a low-functioning thyroid: weight gain, mental sluggishness, changes in hair and skin quality, constipation, and low energy. Now, we mentioned in both the cleanse and in the digestive presentation a word, and that word was autoimmunity. What is autoimmunity? It's when the body attacks self-tissue. And in this instance, that tissue is the thyroid tissue. And that condition is called Hashimoto's disease. There's a massively huge correlation between autoimmune conditions and digestive conditions. So if you're trying to address your autoimmune thyroid condition without addressing digestive conditions, the literature says that you are missing a big piece. Big piece. So good luck with that. Now, thyroid problems can have neighboring hormone components as well. High levels of cortisol seem to strangle the ability of the thyroid to function properly, correlating to chronic fatigue syndrome and depression. And very interestingly, fertility specialists are now looking at thyroid conditions to help explain difficulties with pregnancy. So if fertility is an issue, make sure thyroid's checked out as well. Now, the frustrating part is you can feel all the signs and symptoms of a low-functioning thyroid, and your thyroid panels come back with completely normal levels. Well, how does that happen? Estrogen. Oh man, how? In order for thyroid hormone to travel through the blood to get where it wants to go, it's got to get on a boat. Now, that boat is called a binding globulin. Now, the seats on the boat are reserved for thyroid hormone, but there is another passenger, another hormone that also fits in that seat. Yes, estrogen. So you could be producing plenty of thyroid hormone, it just can't get to where it's got to go because all the seats in the boat are taken up by estrogen. So you feel all the symptoms of low thyroid, but your doctor looks at the lab results and he says, yeah, everything looks good. Now, both the doctor and the patient are right, and each one thinks the other's crazy because you only check thyroid. This is just one example of a comprehensive, holistic approach. Sometimes the problem is outside the box. So beware of an estrogen dominant pattern in the body. And as most women know, it does correlate to breast cancer and coronary heart disease in men. Estrogen. And finally, testosterone. Low testosterone, or just low T. Now, low T is one of two problems. Number one, you're not making it. And number two, you're not keeping it. Number one, you're not making it. Guess what blocks testosterone from being made? If you said inflammation, you're right. Inflammation from where? Inflammation from pollutants. Inflammation from gut permeability. Inflammation driven by excess insulin. Inflammation from fat cells. I hope you're starting to see why the program is set up the way it is. If you're trying to boost testosterone, while at the same time inflammation is coming from all these different sources, forget it. Guys, fix your lifestyle. Do a cleanse. Clean up your diet. Lose weight. Number one, you got low T because you can't make it. Inflammation. Number two, you can't keep it. Why can't you keep it? Because you're too fat. Enzymes within fat cells will literally take testosterone and convert it into estrogen. Not to mention fat cells make estrogen on their own anyway. Number two, you can't keep it because enzymes in fat cells convert it over to estrogen. So if you have heart disease that runs in the family and your doctor is checking your cholesterol levels, that's great. Why? Because 50% of those that have heart disease have high cholesterol. But what that also means is 50% of those with cardiovascular disease don't. Better start checking inflammation. Better start checking food sensitivities. Better start checking blood sugar. Better start checking estrogen levels. Better start checking testosterone levels. Okay? Time to go next level. Holistic approach to hormones. Holistic approach to health. Guys, testosterone. So, as you can see, taking care of a few, you can take care of many. Cool, right? Hormones is the third step in the Section 89 program. Time for legal disclaimer. I'm not an endocrinologist, just like I wasn't a gastroenterologist. I don't claim to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any of the conditions mentioned. My purpose is to bring the body back into balance and support normal physiology. That's all I do. And when that's done, good things happen. Now let's talk about measuring, monitoring, and evaluating hormone levels in a holistic way. We will use the end results of digestion for the beginning results of hormone balancing. You know, it's at this point, after a few months, that we often see hormone-based symptoms start to improve indirectly just from the cleanse and digestion. Now, less work needs to be done directly because we've set the stage. Nice job. Now, to learn how your symptoms of the metabolic assessment form correlate to the various hormone-producing glands of the body, just go to the hormones section under the Learning Center tab after the video. I got you. And as far as understanding the BIA, the video under the hormone section of the Learning Center tab is the exact same as the one under the cleanse and digestion. But it's always good to review. You can check it out. We will continue to avoid food sensitivities till the 6-month mark, and we won't retest until then. So great job in continue avoiding inflammatory and reactive foods. Now, we introduced you to the salivary hormone test and step 2 digestion to prepare you for step 3 hormone balancing. We call that the spit kit. This is a test you do yourself. You don't go to the lab. And it's so much better than blood tests, in my opinion, when it comes to evaluating reproductive hormones. But if testing reproductive and stress hormones through saliva is so good, why doesn't my regular doctor do it? Because insurance doesn't cover it. And that means he doesn't get paid. It's not the right model. This is not the drug model. This is not the masking the symptoms model. This is looking for the cause model. This is a much more advanced approach to your health, if you haven't noticed already. This is an out-of-pocket expense. Anyway, after you're done, it takes 10 to 14 days to get the results back from the lab. And the results look like this. This shows us where the imbalances are, and most importantly, what would be the most appropriate supplementation. Retesting reproductive and stress hormones is every 3 to 6 months. More information on the salivary hormone test is located in the Learning Center tab. Now the next test is blood sugar and something also called ketones. This is also a test you can do at home, or it's something that you can come into the office to have tested as well. Either way is fine. It is so incredibly helpful to monitor blood sugar levels as you go through the program. Now, if you want to self-monitor at home, a complete kit costs about $150 on Amazon. If you want to come into the office, it's a $20 fee each time you're tested. Do whichever way is best for you. You can also check out more about blood sugar and ketone testing up in the Learning Center tab. And then finally, as I mentioned, thyroid testing. These lab results you most likely have from your thyroid doctor. It's fantastic because it gives us a chance to work with that thyroid doctor on a team approach. Now, if you don't have a thyroid panel or a thyroid doctor, we can provide a requisition form and you can have it done at a draw site. There's about 8 to 10 locations between Bountiful and Springville. So there's one fairly close no matter where you live along the Wasatch Front. Now, as far as steps to balancing hormones, we got 3. Test, best, and then the rest. First, you test hormone levels. Next, you take the best supplements that are personalized according to your testing. And then you let diet take care of the rest. Step 1, test. These are the tests we just went over. Testing reproductive and stress hormones through saliva, and testing thyroid, glucose, and ketones. Now, that's the second time I mentioned that thing called ketones. And we're almost there if you're unfamiliar. Hang on. And step 2 is best, and that's supplements. Now, they're the best because you can't do any better than taking supplements that are indicated through testing, not through the advice of your Aunt Mildred or your next door neighbor. By testing, we can measure and monitor progress and success. We never over or under supplement. We just supplement and support that which is indicated by testing. Now, that being said, there are many good, everyday, overall lifestyle supplements. Vitamin D, omega-3 fish oils, a well-rounded probiotic, good meal replacements, and others. These can be taken anytime along the way and are great enhancements. They can be found and ordered under the lifestyle section of the product tab. Step 3 is rest, and the rest is diet. Diet must be on point. It is the foundation of this and every step along the way. Now, with food sensitivities already identified, we're ready to take that structured meal plan and modify it so our bodies run on fat instead of sugar. That's where the word ketones and ketosis comes in. It just takes sugar out of the equation as to simplify the process. Look, you don't want to make it harder than it already is. So to recap, test your hormone levels. Take the best supplements. No more, no less. And let diet do the rest. Let diet aid rather than be an obstacle. The length of time to balance hormones is anywhere from 3 to 6 to up to 6 to 12 months. That's with patient compliance. And if that seems like a long time, it's not. Now, when we retest reproductive and stress hormones using the saliva test, plan on getting it a month before you want to get the results. Now remember, test results take 2 weeks or maybe up even to 6 weeks depending on the women's cycle. And at the time of retesting labs, we will also retest using the bioimpedance and the metabolic assessment form. Now the timing of retesting hormones may vary. It's more of an art than a science. The severity of the condition, patient compliance, and cost may be a consideration for some. So plan for it, people, and own that sob story that you're telling yourself about things being too expensive. You know it's too expensive. Not doing anything. Letting it get worse. Medication costs forever. Medical bills because you didn't take a proactive approach. Now, as far as pricing of the program. Now, unlike the cleanse and digestion, there's only one approach to hormone balancing. And that's reserved for patients only. Because of the need to study lab results and the relationship between test results. There is no do-it-yourself approach. No bronze. And because there's no additional lab tests to order in anticipation of the next step, there's no gold. Also, there are no foundational supplements. Given the dozens, if not hundreds of different combinations that are possible regarding hormone levels, it's just impossible to standardize supplementation. Just one approach, silver. So here's how it works. Once the digestive ending results are in, the lab tests are completed and in hand, you place your order for the Balancing Silver program. Now, just like with the cleanse and digestion, the program guide will be emailed to you with your order confirmation. The order also includes the initial consultation to go over your test results. And at that consultation, the lab results will be reviewed and supplements will be recommended. Those supplements can be purchased at the office or can be purchased online at your convenience. No supplements are included in the price of the program. Supplement recommendation is usually for the first 60 days. And as that 60-day supply of those supplements are being completed, we'll reevaluate progress. That 60-day consultation is also included. The price of the program guide, the initial consultation and review of lab work, and the 60-day reevaluation is $79. Additional costs will depend on supplements and testing when indicated. That's it. If you have any questions, as always, we invite you to contact the office. Test your levels. Supplement accordingly. Let diet assist and help the process. Take the step, balance hormones, increase performance, and watch your body heal. Why? So you can do today what others won't, so tomorrow you can do what others can. Thank you so much for listening.